Well, it's the first Sunday of August, so we have a new monthly theme, and the monthly theme is On the Wings of Love. So you may, if you've been around Science of Mind a little bit, you might be familiar with this idea that when we talk about the divine, God, Spirit, there's a whole string of other words we might use, and they're all capitalized. Love, peace, joy, grace, and that we treat those as synonyms for the divine. So often we talk about the divine as being comprised of law, the mechanism of how manifestation happens, and love, the presence, the consciousness, the feeling tone of being in alignment. Sound familiar? This month, we're talking about the love. We talk about the law plenty. This month, we're talking about the love all month long. Sound good? Excellent. So today's talk is called The Launch of Love, for jumping off. And we're going to set the foundations, the understanding of the foundations of love. And so we're going to go to Ernest Holmes in the Science of Mind textbook. This is the founder of our teaching for all of our new friends. And he said, love points the way and law makes it possible. So love is that wisdom voice inside of us that's guiding us, that's calling us to make a decision. When our outreach team felt that rise up within them to support our homeless, our neighbors who are experiencing homelessness in the area, our neighbors who are experiencing food and water insecurity in the Valley of the Sun, that rising up within them, that something should be done about this that happens on the inside of them. That spirit within each one of us calling us into action. Perhaps you can relate. You've had that call of some sort or another. And in my head, it usually first sounds like this. Somebody should do something about that. And it takes me about 3.5 seconds to realize, oh, I'm somebody. Okay, I should do something about that. We are a very loving community, aren't we? Our vision talks about love. Our previous vision talked about love. All of the visions we've considered in between, guess what they talked about? Love. We talk about being radically inclusive and having this desire to have arms big enough as a community to embrace in anyone who wishes to participate, whether it's for one Sunday or one activity or forevermore with us. And if you're anything like me, and I suspect you might be, I have at times been a little, what I would call, take a breath, spiritually arrogant about it. We're so loving. We welcome everyone. Oh, I don't get upset like that anymore. I live lovingly now. And I understand love because I've read all the books. Some of them twice. So if you can relate to that a little bit, and you know it's you if you're mildly annoyed right now, just take a breath. Just take a breath. This talk is really going to give us some roots to dig into when it comes to not just connecting to the concept of love, but actually taking it into our practice to deepen it within ourselves. Because here's the thing, love isn't a concept. Love is an action. Love is an action. It's an action of thought when something enters your mind and wanders through. It's an action of belief when we choose to anchor into that thought and keep it for our very own. It's an action of thought when we take it into our spiritual practice and into our behavior in the world. The concept of love gets us nothing. Isn't that sad? Let's just let go of that by going, oh. Okay, well, the good thing is we know the concept, so we're ready to move to the practice, yes? So when we are getting ready to practice love, there are two specific places I would love for you to just look in your own thought processes and in your own behavior. Because there are two big uh-ohs. I've been hanging out with the grandbaby. Uh-oh is a big word right now. There are two big uh-ohs that can get in our way, okay? We're breathing, right? You too, breathing. The first is making myself higher than anybody else. Higher, better, more spiritual, stronger, fancier. And we know that we have been falling into this little uh-oh trap when we find ourselves fixing, inserting ourselves into things that are not our business, controlling, preempting, or enrolling. What is enrolling? Enrolling is when I find that something is not the way I think it ought to be. And I say, Dylan, can you hear me out for a second? The schmudgety schmudge did the stoopity stoop, and I think it is wrong. Am I crazy? And Dylan says, no, Reverend Leslie, I agree, it should be like that. And I say, thank you. And then I say, Bobby, the schmoobity schmoop did the schloopity schloop. Am I crazy to think that's wrong? And you say, I don't know. And I say, even Dylan agrees. And you say, oh. And I say, Rachel, the schloopity schloop did the schmoobity schmoop. And I even talked to Dylan and Bobby about it, and nothing changed. Do you agree with me that that is wrong? Me, my schloopity schloop over there has no idea any of this is happening. How effective does that feel? No. If you're recognizing yourself, breathe, breathe. You're not being called out. You're being reminded that we're human, and everybody does this a little bit sometimes. But if it's feeling real familiar, like if I'm really the most annoying person you've ever heard on the platform right now, just know that this is for you. Just know this is for you. The other uh-oh, the oopsie door that we fall into is making people other, separate. And we know that we're falling into this if we are, I love these lists, excluding, analyzing why they do that, because if I understand, I can fix them, intellectualizing, gossiping. The enrolling is gossiping too. Oh, I know. Breathe with me, friends. Worrying about people because they're doing it wrong and something real bad's going to happen. Now, in Science of Mind, we don't get to say, do it this way or you're going to hell. And at least 2 talks a year, I lament this. Because I could just tell you, do as I say or you will go to hell. Except we don't believe that, so I guess I have to just be more persuasive. I don't have a good thing to threaten you with. Now, there's no way I haven't said something that you have done in the last week. Every single one of us. And the glazed, frowny faces are my evidence. Everyone looks like this. Yes. They say in ministry our job is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. So I turned to Thich Nhat Hanh, who's one of my favorite teachers. He's a Vietnamese Buddhist who taught for many, many, many years and was a prolific writer. Thank goodness. Any fans of Thich Nhat Hanh out there? Oh, good stuff, right? And as you may know, my husband is Buddhist, so we very often play in our home with this, this conjunction of where Buddhism meets science of mind. And he had this to say. He said, the Buddha taught that it is possible to live 24 hours a day in a state of love. Every movement, every glance, every thought, and every word can be infused in love. It can happen. And if you're thinking, well, I am not Thich Nhat Hanh, nor am I Buddha, I'm not Jesus either, but we're all still working on it, right? It is possible. It is possible. So conveniently, Thich Nhat Hanh gave us what he called the 4 immeasurables, 4 aspects of love, or 4 kinds of love that can guide us into becoming a more completely loving person. While we all understand it's a practice, it's an action. We're each moving bit by bit, yes? So the first rule is 1, don't go beat yourself up for it. We're not going to go home and beat ourselves up. Instead, we're going to start leaning into these immeasurables. So the first one is Maitri, loving kindness. So we're all pretty familiar with this, yes? This idea of loving kindness, the desire to offer happiness and to be a source of happiness from the inside out wherever we go. Now, this one doesn't tend to be too hard for us. We've practiced it a lot. And you know that you're living a life of Maitri if somebody says to you things like, oh, you're such a breath of fresh air. I just love to be in your presence. Isn't that lovely when people see the truth of who we are in that way? Now, he gives us a practice, a simple practice, and it's one that Reverend Karen Einhaus has shared with us a number of times before. And it's something to repeat daily when you can, and even more when it feels hard. And this is what it is. It says, may all beings experience acceptance, trust, sufficiency, and safety. May all beings experience acceptance, trust, sufficiency, and safety. Now, you may have seen other variances of this with slightly different words, but what you're going to find is that they're safe, they have enough, they are well, and they are calm, and they're at peace in their life, is what we seek for ourselves and for everybody else. Now, if we're going to wish that for everyone, then that means we have to be willing to believe in the concept of accepting all that is, of having trust, of believing that in fact God is our source and therefore we are sufficient, and that we are safe. And those are not small concepts to absorb. So there's a little practice for you as well. Am I willing to believe in a universe where I am safe, where I can trust, where I can accept all that is exactly how it is without needing to fix it? We're going to dig into a little bit more of that. The second kind of love that Thich Nhat Hanh brought to our attention is karuna, compassion. And this is another one we talk about a lot. The desire to remove suffering from another person. Now, we confuse this a lot because we want this to be fixing. I can see that you're unhappy. So I'm going to tell you all the things you're doing wrong so you can do them right so you'll be happy. No! No. Instead, it's, I can see that you're unhappy. I see your struggle and your suffering. I have also struggled and suffered, maybe in different ways, but I have. I extend my heart of care to you, as I know that this does not feel good right now. May your struggle and suffering pass soon. And I will hold that space for you, knowing it is possible. That is what compassion is. There's a poem that goes around and an animation that goes around and talking about the hole. You guys remember the hole, right? There's a hole in the road. I fall in it. Oh, no. Eventually, someone brings me a ladder and I get out. Chapter 2, I'm walking down. There's a hole in the road. I look. I fall in it anyway. Oh, no. I'm there a long time. Somebody eventually brings me a ladder and gets me out. Chapter 3, I'm walking along. I see the hole. I know there's a hole there. I lean so far looking into it with my nosy self that I fall in the hole. I'm there a while. I at least start hollering pretty early for somebody to bring me a ladder this time, because I know. Chapter 4, I walk down the road. I do not look at the hole. I keep going. Chapter 5, I take a different road. That leaning so far over it to say, hey, what's going on? So I can go tell my friends later. That's one of the ways we fall in the hole. And in one of the animations, I saw, this is compassion. And it was somebody else was in their whole journey, and they went wandering by, and they see a hole, and they peek, and there's someone in there, and they laid down next to the hole, and they extended their arm down into the hole and held the hand of the person down there. until they could figure out their way out of the hole. Fixing does not help, ever, 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 ever. We're communicating that we don't think they're enough to figure it out, and we're robbing them of the opportunity to find a solution. Fixing is not loving. We're breathing, right? Let's do a nice big one together. So we move on to our third aspect of love, mudita, which is joy. The desire to bring joy to people around you and allowing their happiness to bring you joy. I consider this kind of an advanced form of joy, where you see somebody get something amazing happen in their world and immediately you're like, oh, that is so awesome for them. I am so excited, and it actually brings you personal joy to know that good is happening in the world. And it's okay if this one's hard for you sometimes. You know that you're falling into this when every once in a while somebody tells you about their raise or their new plane or their new grandbaby, and you think, must be nice. I wish things came so easy to me. And we're human, and we're human. Beautifully, Thich Nhat Hanh gave us a practice for mudita as well. He said to start the day with a question in your meditation: what joy may come today? Not to plan it, not to manufacture it, but to be open to seeing it when it comes. To be open to the perceiving. Reverend Dr. Michelle Madrano likes to play a game called If You Spot It, You Got It. And she said one of the ways you can practice building up the abundance of good in your life is to go hunting. Go hunting for the evidence of good things. Because the way the law works, I know we're not talking about the law, but I'm sliding this one in. The way the law works is if you can perceive it and really observe it, it is for you. Yours is coming. And we show the universe that we're open to that by actively seeing and celebrating the good in other people's lives. Plus, it makes our lives so much better. If you're getting excited not just about your own good, but everybody's good, it's a happy day. It's a good day all around. And then finally, we have the kind of love that lands us in the pit a lot. That's okay. We can all be, are we just all at the bottom of the hole now for this part of the talk? I'm in there too. We're good. We've got each other's back. We're practicing our karuna together in the hole. And upeksha best translates into equanimity. The desire to accept everything and not to discriminate in any way at all. It's a freedom from judgment. Breathe. It's a freedom from judgment. So then we have to talk about the difference between judgment and discernment, right? Because you have to make some decisions in your life, or you can't even get dressed and come to the center, or have a TV or computer by which to be watching this. We have to decide, am I going to brush my teeth today? We have to decide, am I going to eat cake for breakfast today? We have to be able to decide. Bobby says yes. But equanimity is I like to call it unmesswithable. When we have equanimity, we are not thrown by the things that we see. Our ability to be joyful is not interrupted by something that we do not like. With discernment, we cannot like something without heat. We can be a no thank you for my life without making it wrong to exist. So some people really like, and I deeply don't understand how this can be so, but some people deeply like mangoes, right? Mangoes are a very popular fruit. Lots of people like mangoes. I hate them. I loathe them. But what I don't do is go into the smoothie place every day and I say, I would like what kind of losers have a smoothie bar with mango? Gross, and then storm away. I get that other people can really enjoy mango. I am, shocking, I know, pretty outgoing, pretty effusive, if you will. Big movements, big voice, big love, big loud, right? I don't look at people who are more quiet with their love and go, see, they don't get it. They're doing it wrong. If they were really loving people, they would be running around like me with a full unicorn onesie and glitter tail. You're laughing like you think I don't have that. I believe that there's photographic evidence somewhere around here. I think Dawn took the pictures. The desire to accept everything and not to discriminate, not to close anything out of the kingdom of the divine, not to close anything out of the possibility of life. No matter how they dress, no matter where they live or don't, no matter what they believe, no matter what they say. Now you can use your discernment to say, this isn't a fit for my life. Perhaps I'm not going to become best friends with that person. But what we don't say is because they don't deserve to live, or they deserve my derision, or they deserve my hatred. It's hard right now. There are some big divisions in our culture, in our country. If you're not from the United States, maybe there are big divisions in your country too. But we follow this teaching because something in us has told us there's a path forward where we really can create a world that works for everyone. And guess what? Not everyone wants the same world, which means we are actively creating parts of a world that I would not choose, that my discernment would say no thank you to. But I love everyone enough to want them to have that in their corner, if that's what they want. I don't want to veil, probably because I live in Arizona and it's bleeping hot here. But I will fight to the ends of the earth to protect women who do want to have the right to do so. That's equanimity, the ability to see the difference between what I think should be in my life and what I think should be everywhere. I want to live freely, and in order to do that, I have to offer that freedom to absolutely everybody else, and if I don't, I am full of bleep. So what is the practice for equanimity? As often as you can, say quietly in your mind, at this moment, I trust God as the source of my supply. At this moment, I trust God as the source of my supply. The supply of what? Supply of attention, supply of love, supply of money, supply of resources, supply of support, supply of whatever needed thing is. Because if I believe that Infinite Spirit has supplied me perfectly, I don't need to go poking around at everybody else. In my life, I tend to say when I start getting, this is, in my mind, my feathers, my feathers are going up on my back the way like an angry parrot. When my feathers start going up, I say, this job is not my source, God is my source. Or this friend is not my source, God is my source. Or this community is not my source, God is my source. This airline ticket, this piece of jewelry, anything I could fear losing or having taken away, this freedom is not my source. God is my source. God is the source of that freedom. And anything divine cannot be taken from us. It'll just circle right back around in another form. So the invitation is about acceptance. It's about accepting what is. living in these 4 kinds of love: loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Deep, deep acceptance of what is. We can't go around fixing ourselves, because we just learned fixing never helps. The idea is awareness and intention. Which of these 4 forms of love feel the most challenging to me in this moment? And will I take that practice into my life? Will I notice when I'm not acting out of that kind of deep love? Will I choose to do the practice? That is the invitation, and I hope you will join me in it. Thank you. So let's anchor this into some prayer. How good it is to be right here, right now, in this place of wholeness and love, in this community of acceptance and high intention. And what I know for sure is this: whatever we each brought into this session, on our heart, on our mind, in our life, all of that is in the world of effects. And so we take it into the world of cause, into the world of consciousness, into the place where change happens, which is when infinite spirit joins up with a mind and a heart that are willing to see this world differently. And when we are in that space, everything is possible. And so I know healings unfolding to the sound of my voice. I know a falling away of old pain, an opening up to the possibility of the new, and a deep acceptance, a deep equanimity, knowing that nothing, no one, and no happening can interfere with my good coming directly to me from infinite spirit. And I'm so grateful to know it, to know that it's my truth, to know that it's every living being's truth, because we're all of that same oneness. And I call it all beautifully, beautifully good. And so it is.